Right now, want to welcome in co-author Dick Vitale's latest book, Getting a W in the Game of Life, Reji Laberje. Reji, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys? You get a lot of snow up there?
Well, we're supposed to. We're scheduled for about 3 or 4, then 5 or 6, and then a foot or so. So I add it all up, and it sounds like trouble, but just, way of life up here a little bit. How you doing down there in Milwaukee, I guess? First of all, I want to welcome you to the show, and really, really impressed with the book. It was outstanding. Can you give us an idea, our listeners, maybe the genesis behind Getting a W in the Game of Life?
Absolutely. I mean, really, this is kind of Dick Vitale's baby. And, well, in a few moments, I'm going to let everybody know how they can get a copy of it. But I really want to tell you why this was so important to him. He's already put out, books about basketball, and he's put out books kind of about his own life as an announcer. But he really hasn't had an opportunity to just share how he got on that road to success. And that's really what this whole book is about. And it happens to be filled with the stories of all of these great sports personalities that have crossed its path. But really, it's not a sport book. It's kind of a book for everybody who wants to succeed.
Reggie, I got to ask you, your skill set, your talents seem to meld perfectly with the project. How did it come to be that you and Coach Vitale got hooked up together to do this?
Oh, it really was just a match made in heaven. I happen to know the man who was working with his publisher, with Ascend Books, Bob Snodgrass, and he said, you're already working with youth, you're already presenting in schools, because that's what I do for a living. I'm a children's author. He's like, we just need somebody who can take Dick's work, and he's used to working with adults for the most part, and kind of channel it into something that's going to work well with middle school and with high school. And honestly, we ended up just on the same page so many times when we met. It was absolutely meant to be. It was just a really easy working partnership that we had throughout the whole process.
Visiting with Reji Laberje here on Sportsline, the author, Getting a W in the Game of Life with Coach Dick Vitale. I was looking at the acknowledgments, and Coach Vitale said special mention to your husband, Joe, for his passion for the book. I'm sure Joe's a big fan of children's books, and he's proud of all your work. But I got to imagine it's kind of a little nice to have your wife working with Dickie V. Talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. Honestly, he's a huge fan. He's my number one fan, but he was also an NC State alum. And so to know that I'd be working with kind of the second coming of Jimmy V, if you will, was really exciting to him. He knew more about Dick than I did before I got into this project. I think I've surpassed him since, but he was just absolutely full of you're working with Dick Vitale, that's awesome, baby. And that was just his favorite thing to tell people for the longest time. And I have to admit, he was right. It's been awesome. Dick is awesome. And so it's been a great time, and he's been a really huge support, just like he is of all my books.
Talk about what ages you target your message, because I know he also mentions your 3 children, Bradley, Kimberly, and Laura, and you use them for their opinions and from a youth perspective on the project. So I guess just mention them a little bit and kind of what age you're targeting and the message.
Sure. Really, this is kind of a book from 5th grade to senior in high school. It focuses on all of those same issues that are absolutely at the forefront today. Everything from bullying and self-esteem to creating a life success plan and a map to get there. And even though that's the target age group, and really it also brings in a lot of the success books out there are strictly female-focused. Some of the issues that they deal with are very girl-related, whereas this kind of hits, doesn't matter whether you're a guy or a girl, you're going to get the same out of this. The neat thing about it, though, is that parents and educators get a ton out of this, too, because it gives them strategies, and it's just full of such really warm, motivational, inspirational stories, not just of the sports stars, but just of some of the cancer patients that Dick has gotten to know, and some of the people he's gotten to know through all of his.
I do believe we just lost Reji there. She was talking about Coach Dick Vitale getting a W in the Game of Life. Her and her husband and their 3 children live just outside of Milwaukee, and she co-authored the book. And if you want to be able to get a hold of it, you can go online. A couple of places here. You can learn more about it at www.rejilaberje, and I'll spell that, Rejilaberje, Laberje.com. Or you can go to Ascend Books. They also, of course, the publishers, and you'll be able to have all the contact information there at www.ascendbooks.com, ASCEND books.com. And got to ask Reji a little bit about Dick Vitale. I don't really think of him as a grandfather of five, but he's so active and his on-air persona. Reji, we got cut off there, but we were talking a little bit about the project, and I guess I wanted to ask you about Coach Vitale. Can you share a story or two, and maybe just observation, something that either surprised you or kind of caught you off guard about the coach, maybe that differed from a perception going in?
Yeah, absolutely. And I apologize for getting cut off there. The thing that really surprised me is he is absolutely a 100% genuine person. I really expected to kind of run into like Dick the guy as opposed to who we all know as, Dickie V and Coach Dick and everything. And the truth is, I got out there and I got to spend some time with him, and he's so enthusiastic and just passionate and generous, and everything that he, quote, sells, unquote, about him is who he really is. And when I came home and people were asking, what it was like to meet him and what it was like when he dropped that persona, I was able to honestly say, that's not a persona. That's who he is. I mean, he's just really, really full of life. And the entire time that we met, we spent a lot of time at his favorite little cafe, the Broken Egg. And the entire time we were there, he gave full attention to every single person that came by. It didn't matter their status. It didn't matter whether they were buying a book from him or just stopping by to say hi. He just really is a genuinely loving man. That's
Reji Laberje, co-author with Coach Dick Vitale, getting a W in the game of life. Reji, where can our listeners get the book if they wish?
Well, absolutely, they can get it at their local bookstores. Of course, it's at Amazon.com. But I would also recommend that they stop at my website, www.regilaberje.com. That's Reji Laberje with J's.com. And in addition to getting an autographed copy, they can go ahead and ask me about middle school programs attached to this. We have whole entire school packages related to this, and we can get them a really good deal.
Excellent. Hey, I'm looking at the release, and having done, 6 or 7 books now, you look at the release, and it sounds great because they talk about Coach Vitale sitting down with distinguished speaker and writer Reji Laberje a few months ago. The result, a 248-page book. It's just like, it magically appears out of nowhere, and then you think about all the work that goes into it while you do the project. Talk a little bit about maybe some decisions. Was there one or two along the way? Because invariably in any project, there's either a snag or some things you have to work through or logistics. I'm just curious about the project itself.
Sure. There were a couple of things. One is that Dick, because he's got such a big heart, I remember in the editing phase, every single time we would get to a page where he said, I learned a lesson from, and he'd mention maybe a co-anchor or an anchor. He would go back in and he would correct and he would add in all of the other anchors. And I would have to tell him, Dick, I know you learned from all of those people, but you can't just thank everybody because we don't have enough pages. and honestly, that's how he wanted to be the entire time. He just never, ever wanted to leave somebody out. And that was part of it. Another part that we really had to work with, and this was really important to Dick, because the funds for this, all of the proceeds, the 100% of Dickie V's proceeds go to the V Foundation for Cancer Research. And because of that, he really wanted a lot of these people who are cancer success stories to be a focus point, as well as some of the sports stories that have inspired his life. And so we really wanted to make sure that we included those stories at the same time that we were including the positive outcomes of those stories and the positive lessons when sometimes young children would die from cancer, and we had to find the positive things, because really this book is incredibly uplifting. It's positive, it's motivational, and it's inspirational.
Reji, you said that your specialty has pretty much been children's books up until this point. What was it like for you to change that up and write about such serious things like you just mentioned?
It was interesting because not just because I had to write about these serious things, writing about Leslie Caisson's drug experience, that was incredibly touching. It was really hard to get through that. Honestly, I was typing and crying while I was writing that story, and so that was really difficult. But it also opened the door for me to be able to speak with my own kids, or to speak when I go to schools about those events in a way that was a little bit more deep than maybe I used to do. The other thing that was kind of hard is I'm just used to being fully in control of the story, and of course this was a completely collaborative effort. I would write the things that were based on Dick's life and then share with him, and he would provide his input from there. And so it was interesting to have a collaborative effort, but I would say it was an enjoyable experience overall.
Excellent. Hey, Reji, continued success with the book. It's awesome, and as it says right on the cover. Again, where can our listeners get a copy if they wish?
Absolutely. Go to Amazon.com, check out their local bookstore, or stop by my website, RejiLaberje.com.
Excellent. Hey, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate the visit. Good stuff, and look forward to your next project. Take care.
You bet. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
you guys
Reji.
have a great night.